Hello, everybody, and welcome to another shortened episode of Clipboard Confessional with Bobby and Anthony. It's me, Bobby Waugh, here to give you Waugh's waiver wire ads. We're getting this one in quick, so let's take a look at some guys who can make your team better heading into week 9 of the NFL season. Quarterbacks, welcome back, J.J. McCarthy. We have not seen him since he got hurt in week 2, but he put up 22 fantasy points in his first NFL start. He also has one of, if not the best remaining schedules for fantasy quarterbacks. Maybe he's just another replacement level signal caller, or maybe he leads your team to a fantasy championship. I wouldn't bet on that one just yet, but maybe he's worth a spot at the end of your bench. I mentioned him as a possible sleeper candidate last week on the show, and Aaron Rodgers ended up with just shy of 17 fantasy points. Nothing to write home about, but much like Mr. McCarthy, who we just talked about, Rodgers has a gravy schedule down the stretch. For running backs, how many Saquon owners do you think soiled their britches when they saw Barkley come up lame on Sunday? I bet the 17% who already had Cartavius Bigsby on their bench weren't quite as worried. This is your weekly reminder to grab your handcuffs before you need them. Also, I know he's on bye at Tank Bigsby. Isaiah Davis is owned in 9% of leagues and is pushing for 50% of snaps 2 weeks in a row. He's getting more work. Brees Hall may be traded, even if he isn't. Go get Davis this week. For wide receivers, I know he's coming off a monster performance where he dominated the Dallas Cowboys' horrible defense. But Troy Franklin has by far the most snaps on the field outside of Cortland Sutton in this wide receiver room. He's had at least 5 targets in 6 out of his 8 games this season, and this offense is clicking. Houston is a very tough matchup, and maybe you don't want to play him this week. That's okay. But keep in mind, he only really needs one big play to pay off for you. I really, as a former fantasy owner of this player, I don't want to say this name out loud, but Christian Watson is free in 84% of leagues. He just went 4 for 85 in his first game back from injury. If he can stay healthy and he can keep the arrow pointing up, the Packers are probably going to be forced to give him the ball. He is a playmaker. But my gosh, is it scary to put him in your lineup. For tight ends, Harold Fana Jr., he's only got 2 games of under 5 targets, and in one of those games, he scored a touchdown. He's got over 11 and a half fantasy points 2 of the last 3 weeks. It seems like Dylan Gabriel, the quarterback, loves him. They have a bye this week. I get it, but it's 2 juicy matchups in a row when they get back on the field. He's free in just over half of Yahoo leagues. Throw him on your team if you need a tight end. Now, the New York Giants just lost Cam Scatterboo. Terrible injury. I hope you didn't see it. We all know they lost Malik Neighbors earlier this season. They're in dire need of playmakers, and maybe Theo Johnson is that guy. It's always the tight end position is scarce, but Theo has shown that he's capable of double-digit fantasy weeks. New York is going to need all the offensive help they can get. So maybe he can help your team out. Deep dive, tight end. It's rough. It's not pretty. All right, folks, that's it. Thank you so much for listening. Hopefully, you enjoyed the show. Make sure you check out our regularly scheduled program later this week. Please like, subscribe, heart, whatever you got to do to help us out. I am Bobby Waugh from Clipboard Confessional with Bobby and Anthony, and I am